buckdance tune. That is Railroad Bill, Etta Baker's classic tune. If you want to know more about the history of the buckdance, if you want to learn more about the history of the tune, look for the guitar version. You know, each week I play an old Piedmont blues, usually tune, sometimes an old time tune, on the guitar, and then I play it on the mandolin. This really with the intention of helping you understand that you can play blues on the mandolin without having to change tuning, without having to do a lot. This is an extremely rhythmic tune. It's built for dancing. The tune is for a buck dance, which is a type of flat foot dancing that in Miss Baker's time was done by both rural Appalachian white and black folk. And everybody had their own version of the buck dance. So we get more into the history of that on the guitar version. What you play in terms of melody is not terribly complicated. The main thing is understanding you're trying to keep a steady rhythm. And it starts out just on this open, and of course, if you were just going to play rhythm, like behind a guitar player, I just use the standard C chord, F, C, G7, C. All right. Now, to get the melody in there, let's just do the two-note C chord here, well, with an open E. And we're going to use, because our first melody note is a G. Now that's your full standard C chord like you'll see in a beginner's book. Just think of it that way. Now, open, G, E. Now we're going to go F, and we're just dropping our pinky down here on the D note. So C with E, G, E, and then we'll just do the melody here. So instead of playing the G chord there, we'll just go G, G, B, D, C. All right, that's the basic. And the turnaround is, so G, F, A, B, C, and then we go C, C7, F, G. So. All right, and then it's just variations. So we're going to go next time through. So, and then instead of just sitting on a G to open E, we're going to go G, A, E, and then E7. Really changes up the sound. It gives it tension. I'm going to use this shaped E7. I'm putting my pinky on the E. I'm going to drop my ring finger on the A flat. G sharp, if you want to think G sharp. I'm going to put my middle finger on the, what's that, B? Yeah. And first finger on the E again. This is what I would call, let's see, this is on the G sharp. This is an E7 with the third on top. So I might call this the second position 7th chord, or 7th chord with the third on top. That'll be important later when we get more into chord melody. So back to the F, C. All right, let's put that together. So we went so same turnaround as before. Now It's the same G7 we're always using in these tunes because it just sounds right. Alright, now let's do the third variation, and this is the weird one. You may have thought when I played this that's not right, but it actually is. Miss Baker liked dissonance in her chords sometimes. She used some really odd chords. This is really an A minor flat 5. So if we look at the A minor 7 here, that would be what we call the proper chord, right? But no, she shifts that down to a flat 5. So it's actually a fairly simple chord shape. Put your one finger, I'm going to use my pinky, on the A. I'm going to put my middle finger on the C and my first finger on the E flat. So these top 3 strings, what we're playing the 1st string, 5th fret, 2nd string, 3rd fret, 4th string, no, 3rd string, 1st fret. So sounds weird, doesn't it? But it sounds right when you follow that up with that E7. So right. So let's do it one more time. Let's see, what finger did I use? There we go. Same turnaround. Last variation, we're going to slide up to a D7. We're going to use this D7. This is a D with the D on top. This is what I would call the first position D7, or the D with the root or first note on top. So, and it's just a 3-note chord. It's that triangle pattern we use so many times. You're going to drop your finger here on this D, and F sharp, and what is that? G, A, B, a C. Obviously C, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's it. A little variation here though, so we're going to play that D. And then it just goes to G major. And so it's really easy to go from here to here. All I'm doing is I move my, keep my finger on the D, okay? I'm going to move my middle finger from the C over to the G, and my first finger is going to go back here to B, and then to E, and that's an E with the E on top. E and what was that? G sharp and B, right? Then back to F as standard. All right, let's put that in context, see how it sounds. That's it. It's very simple. It's actually very simple if you just remember, get the standard and then add those variations one at a time. Let's see if I can do it one more time through without screwing it up too badly. And it is, focus on the rhythm. Don't get hung up if you hit a wrong note. In fact, we need to get into this at some point. There are no wrong notes. Now, what do you mean there are no wrong notes? What matters, it's not the note you play, it's the next note you play. You can play the chromatic scale, which means every single note on the fretboard is correct. But it's only correct because of the note that comes after it, that guides the ear, makes it sound familiar. We'll get a lot more into that later when we start talking really more music theory. But let's just have fun with this one right now. missed that one, didn't I? Yeah. Fun tune. Very fun tune. This one really, it's more of an old time tune than a blues tune. But of course, it does have some bluesiness to it, especially those odd dissonant notes that she did in that A minor flat five. But yeah, you can. This one would actually fit in real well if you were doing a bluegrass jam because buck dancing is still done at bluegrass festivals and get-togethers, old-time jams and such. And so this is just a variation on a buck dance, and the tune Railroad Bill is actually an old-time, more of a folk tune. So I think you could get away with playing this one at a bluegrass jam session, and people would probably really enjoy it, and everybody would it'd be familiar enough. Everybody can come in and do their solo, and fiddle player would be all over this sucker. I mean, it's got some real good movement to it because it is a dance tune, and you know, country music and blues originate as dance music, and the more we stick to those roots, the better it sounds. The more we get away from the buck dances and the honky tonks and the barn dances and clogging and two-stepping and all that, the worse the music tends to sound, in my opinion. I think music should be played for dancing, and that tends to be the most enjoyable music, really. I mean, when people say they hate jazz, it's not that they hate big band swing like Glenn Miller or Benny Goodman or the Dorsey Brothers or something. Everybody loves that stuff. It's where we're talking bebop, where it lost its ability to be danced to. The rhythms got more complex, the chords got more complex. It's more music for listening. Unfortunately, the same is very much true in the world of bluegrass. I mean, I love progressive bluegrass from like the '70s and early '80s. Bale Fleck and Sam Bush and all those guys. Newgrass Revival, love that stuff. Love Dave Grisman, love that stuff. John Hartford, absolutely. But by the '90s, something happened where it was really kind of difficult to tell the difference between bluegrass and really depressing acoustic elevator music. Yeah, that's my offensive quote for the day. You can feel free to quote me on that. And I'm not going to blame Alison Krauss specifically, but let's be honest. Beautiful melodic voice. One of some of, I mean, gosh, Atlanta and When You Say Nothing at All, they're classics. But then we also got into that really melancholy, really adult contemporary sound, and I hate that stuff. Honestly, I hate it. When I'll be listening to a bluegrass show, and some of that basically sad acoustic elevator music comes on, and I'm just like, turn it off. Give me Ricky Skaggs' Bluegrass Rules album from the same era, and I will just absolutely rock out to it. But no, I don't like a lot of what's being called bluegrass these days, and that's why I really don't play bluegrass anymore. I'm more of a blues musician at heart, even though I play the mandolin, the banjo, as well as guitars such as that. So remember, y'all, you can play anything on the mandolin. Don't be limited. Don't think, it's a bluegrass instrument or it's a Celtic instrument. That's all I can play. Play whatever you want. You want to play some Black Sabbath on the mandolin, you can play some Black Sabbath on the mandolin. Ozzy just passed, and that's why it popped up in my mind. I'm not a big Black Sabbath fan. I'm a huge Motorhead fan. You want to play Motorhead on the mandolin? That'll impress me. That'll really impress me. Or Deep Purple, or Slade. Slade was a great band. Play some Slade on the mandolin. That'll really impress me. Naughty Piper was so good. But yeah, I love Motorhead. Probably Motorhead and the Velvet Underground are my two favorite rock bands of all time. So I have odd taste in music, which you have probably figured out by now. So anyway, y'all, have a good one. Talk to you next time. Feel free to get in touch if you got any questions.